Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to create a premium yet budget alternative to the Peloton bike. So the setup I'm going to show you is about 80% cheaper than the bike, and the subscription is a third of the cost, so there's huge savings to be made. I've ridden 50 rides on the budget setup and 130 rides on this setup. So I think I'm well positioned to give you some good advice. Let's get cracking. So the setup I'm going to show you today is about £375 in total. It's about this in dollars. Compared to the Peloton bike with shoes, which is about £2,100. And the monthly subscription is $12.99 compared to $39.99. So there's some big savings to be made. So for the budget setup, you're going to need a bike. If you've got an exercise bike, then just use that, unless it's really bad. Just use the one you've got. I used the JLL IC300, which I'll link to in the description. Now this is a really good bike. It cost £329 when I bought it. And I've checked on Amazon today, it's still £329. So props to JLL. Nearly every piece of fitness equipment that you want to buy online has gone up by at least 50%, and JLL have kept their prices the same for this bike anyway. So good on you, JLL. You don't have to use a JLL bike. I'm not recommending, I'm not endorsed by JLL, it's not a sponsored video, but I picked it for the following reasons. So the first reason is it's a belt-driven bike, and I can't kind of recommend belt-driven bikes enough, because you don't have to adjust the chain, you don't have to oil the chain, and they are a lot quieter. This is a really quiet bike, or any sort of most belt-driven bikes will be quiet. Your breathing will be louder than the sound that the bike makes, which is quite important, especially if you're working out in your house. It's also got a 20 kilogram flywheel, which is a really good weight for Peloton. You need good resistance. If it's too light, you won't be able to stand up properly. And in some of the lighter flywheels, they do advise not standing up at all with these ones. So 20 kilograms is a really good weight. You can stand up no problem. And when you set the resistance, it does get pretty sticky pretty quickly, which you also want. It's also got a magnetic brake. This is important. You do not want to be messing around with oiling chains, as I mentioned, or adjusting brake pads. So with a magnetic brake, it does what it says on the tin. So it uses magnets and they go closer to the wheel, and that makes it harder to pedal. That's what you want. No adjustments needed. And it also has this little sweet small display, which, I mean, I never used it, but the benefit of having it is you can stick your phone on it, as in just blue tack it to it, because the screen I found was a bit useless. But your phone, the data you're going to get from your phone, which I'll talk about in a minute, will be really useful. And as I've mentioned, this is a really robust bike. So it's designed for a spin class. You can stand up on it. You're not going to break. If you break this bike, let me know how, because I don't really understand how you could possibly break this bike. It's just really robust. I really like the JLL bike, the IC300, and I did over 50 rides on it, and it was the same on the last ride as it was on the first ride. Now, once again, I'm not endorsing JLL. If you can find a similar bike with similar specs, and you like that better, then just get that one. Now, if cost is important, if you don't want to spend $329, you can buy the bike below this, the IC200, or the bike above it, the IC400. The IC200 is about £100 less. I personally think you might regret the saving. The IC400 is about £130 more. It's the next level up. It's certainly the next level up. But I mean, is it worth the extra $130 for Peloton? I'm not sure. I think if you want to spend it, spend it. If not, just get the IC300 or equivalent. So you've got the bike, you've chosen your bike. The next thing you're going to need is a cadence sensor. Now, what's one of them? I didn't know. It's a little device which goes on the pedal arm. So as you pedal, it counts the rotations. It's really clever. I use the Wahoo cadence sensor, which was £30, and then it comes with an app. So when you're riding, you put your phone on the useless screen, the little screen, and then you can see your cadence on the screen as you're pedaling the bike. Really handy. The next thing you're going to need is a tablet holder. So I just bought a £15 spin bike or exercise bike tablet holder. So you've got my phone. I've now got my phone on the screen, the old screen, and I've got a tablet in front of me on the bike, and that's where you play the Peloton classes. If you've got an Android, you can screencast it, or if you've got Apple TV and an iPad, you can screencast that. If you've got something like a Prime stick, an Amazon Prime stick, you can just download the app onto the Amazon Prime, and you can just do it in front of your TV. Then you've got a really big screen to watch when you're cycling. And that's your setup. About £375 for a really good bike, this cadence sensor and a tablet holder, and you're good to go, almost. You do need a Peloton digital subscription. So the Peloton bike subscription is $39.99. The Peloton digital subscription is only $12.99, and you get to do all the workouts still. It's amazing, isn't it? So if you're enjoying this video and finding it useful, please hit the like button. It really helps me out. And if you're not a subscriber, then please consider subscribing. This channel is about electric vehicles and a little bit of health, wealth and happiness thrown in as well. Now you've got your setup, and during a class you'll be given some instructions by the instructor. So one instructor, now a lot of them are American, so if you're in America, I'd be interested to know what you think the word knob means. Because in the UK, knob has a different meaning, I think, to what you guys might think it is. And I'm going to tell you something which you won't be able to unhear from now on, and I'm sorry, but when you're riding, the instructor will quite often say, put your hand between your legs and twist your knob. Now, that is an odd statement if you're British. But maybe it's different in America. Anyway, I'll carry on. So when you're riding, they'll say to you something like, set your cadence to 80. So 80 revolutions per minute. So you just start pedaling and your Wahoo sensor tells you via your phone what you're doing. They will also call out resistance. So this is when you are not going to get the full experience, because they may say you want to be cycling at about 40 or 50% resistance. Now, don't despair, you can do this because you just work out what's 40 or 50% of your max effort. So you can kind of do it. I mean, you can do it. It's just not going to be quite as accurate as what you're going to see if you've got a Peloton bike, because on the screen, it will actually show you what your resistance is. They may also call out output. So this is less frequent. So they might say, get your output above 200. So I would say if your output's above 200, that's really hard or quite hard. So if they call that out, just cycle till you feel like it's quite hard. And then you kind of have got it there or thereabouts. So for not much money, you've got a really good Peloton experience. And if you're doing the classes, you will get fitter. I can guarantee it. There are some downsides though. So there are some reasons why you may prefer that to the budget setup. And here's just a few of them. So you won't see the leaderboard when you're riding. And this can be quite motivational. So if you're doing a live class, I quite like the 7 AM class in the UK, which has stopped, and it's not come back since COVID-19. Please bring the 7 AM class back. So when you're doing that class, you get to ride quite often with the same set of people. There might only be 100 people in that class as well. So you might think, well, normally I'm top 50 here and I've just dropped a little bit, and you get that extra motivation to go kind of a bit harder. And you get to kind of see the same people over again. And when you've got the bike, you can just high five them and they can high five you back. Just a little hello. And if you see somebody you ride with struggling, you can just give them a little high five and say, come on, speed up a bit. And you're not going to get that with a budget setup. The other thing you won't get is shout outs like this.
Steaming Steve, are we steaming right now, yeah? Keep it going. I'm steaming with you, babe, don't worry. I'm with you on that one.
And I find the shout outs quite motivating. They don't happen very often, but you do get them, and you do cycle a little bit harder when you know the instructor has just seen your name on that leaderboard and given you a shout out. The other thing you're going to miss is data. So you're not going to get anywhere near as much data about how you've progressed over the months as you would do with the full Peloton setup. If you're not bothered about data and you can just feel fitter, or you might step on the scales and you're a bit lighter, weight isn't everything, then that might be a good enough metric for you. But if you're the sort of person who likes to know, right, how do I compare to what I was doing a month ago, then you're not going to get that with a budget setup. It's not vital, but it is helpful. The other thing is the screen size. So the screen on the Peloton is 21.5 inches. So when you're in front of it, it is quite big, which is really good because it's quite immersive. If you're using, say, an iPad mini, for instance, you're going to be restricted to the size of your tablet, unless you're using it on a TV, where I guess most TVs are at least 32 or 36 inches now. The last thing I'd say is the engineering. So this is a fantastic piece of equipment. I was very happy with my JLL setup, and I still think it's a brilliant setup and a brilliant bike. It's a bit like driving a really nice Audi. So you're very pleased with it, and then one day you step into a Rolls Royce and you think, oh, this is better than the Audi was. Another example would be, it's a bit like getting on a plane. So you get on a holiday, you're happy, you get on and turn right, but the person in front of you turns left. You're both going to the same destination, you're both going to get food poisoning on day 2, but you know, for the duration of that flight, they're probably going to get a better experience than you are. So in conclusion, and before I tell you what I think you should do, the Peloton bike is 5 times more expensive than the setup I've talked about. Is it 5 times better? No. I would say it's certainly twice as good, which I mean, it is really, really good, but it's not 5 times better. Also, there's subscription. So if you're not going to be riding, say, 15, 20 times a month, is it worth paying £40 a month for the subscription that comes along with that, when you might only be riding, say, 5 or 10 times a month, and the £12.99 subscription might be a better option for you? I think whichever option you go for, you're going to be very happy. If I was doing this again, I would have probably gone straight for the Peloton bike. So after 50 rides on the setup, the JLL setup, I decided that I'd ridden enough now to know that I was going to be fully committed to this investment. And I sold my setup on eBay, and I think I got about 3/4 of the money back. So yeah, so I was fairly pleased. What I should have done was got the 30-day return, no quibble return on the bike. So you get the bike, you don't pay anything for 30 days, and you can return it any time within that 30 days. That would have saved me the hassle of the other setup and also having to sell it again on eBay. So if you're, say, 99% sure you're going to go down this route, I would say just do it now. If you're 80% sure, I would say still do that and use the backup of being able to set it back. If you're going to be more of a casual rider and are really not sure, or the cost is an issue for you, then just get the budget setup. It will be all you need, and you will, if you use it, of course, get fitter. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. I'm going to put some more Peloton videos around me. Where am I? I'm going to get in the middle. Yeah, so I'll put one there, another one there, and a subscribe button should have been there for a while. See you next time.